In this video, we're going to be covering what are SKUs for an Etsy shop. We're then going to cover how to make SKUs for our Etsy shop that are meaningful. And then finally, we're going to talk about how we can use SKUs to track a very important metric that is cost of goods sold, or your product costs. And then I'm going to show you how we can do all of this tracking automatically so you don't have to do any reports, VLOOKUPs, pen, paper, calculators, none of that. We're going to streamline this whole process for you. All right, if that sounds good, let's get into the video. All right, first things first, what is a SKU? A SKU stands for stock keeping unit. It is a unique identification code that helps you identify your unique Etsy products outside of just the image and the Etsy title. As you know, in Etsy, you can have hundreds of listings, and in those listings, you can have dozens and dozens of variation options to buy from those listings. And technically, if you want to do this correctly, every unique product type that you have in those drop-down menus should have its own unique SKU or identification code that tells you what that product is. SKUs do a lot of things for your business outside of just identifying your product. It also allows you to track your product costs because you don't have any unique identification code or any way to identify what product sold at the end of the month unless you just did it all manually, basically. So the most efficient way to track your product costs is by using a SKU system, and that is why they're so important. But even outside of just tracking your product costs, it also does a lot more for your business when you're able to consolidate all of your SKUs in one place and see what's going on with them on a monthly, weekly, everyday basis. So now let's go ahead and talk about how we can create a SKU system. If you go to profittree.io, our website, you can actually get a free SKU generator. ProfitTree is the first ever real-time profit tracking solution for Etsy merchants that is going to help you track all of your product costs automatically, which is kind of what I talked about in the beginning of this video. But if you sign up for our waitlist today, you will also get our free SKU generator. So even if you don't want to use ProfitTree and you just want to learn about SKUs, this is a free generator tool that we built for you guys to help you build meaningful SKU systems and also make educational videos like this so you understand how to actually do it, because a video guidance is a lot better and more beneficial in my opinion. Make sure you go to profittree.io and then click sign up for the waitlist, and then you can basically download our free SKU generator. Now I'm gonna hop over to my computer so I can guide you step by step on how to create a meaningful SKU system for your store. All right, so now that we're in my laptop, you probably have got an email like this. If you sign up for the waitlist, you got another email of us basically sending you your free SKU generator. So when you hit click here to open your SKU generator, you're gonna get a Google Sheet like this. So in order to use this, you one, need to be logged into a Google account, and then two, this is gonna say view only. So in order to use this, you need to first go and click file and make a copy for your own use. Now, the first thing I would do is probably rename this for myself. So I would come up here and I would go ahead and put, my name, SKU generator. So you have it labeled accordingly. Next, you can see that you have all of these different tabs here. So this one right here is your instructions, which is basically everything that we're going to go over right now. So the first place that it says to go to is your attributes tab. So when we're making a SKU system, we have to think about what are the attributes that describe our products and how can we make that meaningful. So I'm going to do an example for a store that say is selling jewelry. Let's click over to attributes. In this tab, this is where you're going to basically control everything. This is where you're going to control the attributes and the codes for the attributes, which is going to make more sense in a second. Now, when we start filling out these attributes, it's going to start auto-populating here. And I just want you to note that you don't ever have to edit anything from here. The only place that you ever edit and erase stuff is from here, because if you do edit from here, you're going to mess up some of this stuff. Like this, all of these cells have codes already built into them. And so we don't want to risk erasing any of these codes, or else you can break this generator. All right, so let's go to attributes. If I was selling jewelry, I would want to thoughtfully begin thinking about what are the things that can describe my product. And usually you want to start on a high level and work your way down to specific attributes. We have already given you some attribute types, which you can see here. This is just showing you the attribute types that we have listed in the drop-down menus, but it's not limited just to these attributes. So if you have your own specific attribute that just applies to you, you can erase this and just type in, whatever your attribute is. Here are just some to help you out. One way that I like to start my SKU systems off is by going really broad. So shop section or collection is usually like the broadest way to start describing your products on Etsy. So if you are selling jewelry, you might have a necklace collection, you might have a ring collection, you might have a bracelet, you might have an earring collection, and then I would list all of my collections here. Now here is where you're going to give it its unique ID, that this is going to make up the parts of your SKU. So necklace code might be NKC, ring might be RIG, bracelet might be BCT, earring might be ERG. Also note here that if you put in two codes that are the same, you can't have two of the same IDs for two different attributes. So if I do that, what happens is it will tell you that there's a duplicate ID, because the point is that all of these unique IDs are correlated to their unique attribute. And usually when you're making IDs, I like, you can use 1 to 4 characters, I would say, or up to 5 characters, whatever works for you. It doesn't really matter uppercase or lowercase. I personally just like to keep it uppercase. So other attributes could be more specific, could be that product type. So of necklaces, you could have chain necklaces, you could have choker necklaces, you could have ring, I don't really know styles of rings, but bracelets could be tennis bracelet. And by the way, not every single SKU that you make has to have every attribute that listed. It doesn't have to be like that. And then for other attributes, we could go, material. Maybe we have gold, maybe we sell silver, and maybe we offer different sizes. So maybe for the size we have maybe over here we have gauge, because we want to know the gauge if we were doing, let's say if it was body jewelry, and one of the product types was a belly ring. And there's different gauges, I think. I don't know if I'm just making that up, but I know there's like 16G, 18G. Another attribute we could give it is personalized. Is it personalized? Yes or no? And then obviously we need to fill out all of the IDs here, which I'm going to go ahead and do that to speed up this video. So just note, you don't ever want to use copy and paste. Like even if these were the same, actually you can copy and paste. You can copy and paste this direction, but you don't want to copy and paste this direction. Like I wouldn't want to paste down this way. So going this way is okay, but going, copying and pasting, I would try to stay away from that, just so we don't break the sheet. We just proved that this works this way, so that's fine. All right, so now we have our codes and we have our attributes. So now when we come over to the SKU list, you can see that our attributes have automatically populated here. So now we would just have to start building our SKU. So if it was a necklace, that was a chain necklace. The material is a gold necklace, and the size is a 16-inch. We don't have a gauge. And for necklaces, say we do some personalization with a letter pendant. Is it personalized? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes. And then as you can see on the left side, the SKU is showing up here. And you see how this column says unique? You can never have two SKUs that are the same. Every SKU has to be unique in your store. But remember, just to further clarify, so you can have the same SKU exist multiple times in your store. So here's an example. In one listing, you can buy a set of 2 white, but here in another listing, you can purchase the same set of 2 white in a completely different listings. So what I'm saying is that you would want to give a set of 2 white a unique ID, and then you would want to have that same unique SKU ID in the other listing as well. So then we could aggregate the data across many listings holding the same SKU. So if it's a set of 6 white in this listing would have a unique SKU that would match the same in this listing, set of 6 white. So we just want to make sure that if you're selling the same SKU across many listings, you put the same SKU. You don't want to have the set of 6 white, be one SKU, and then for the same set of 6 white, but just in a different listing, have a different SKU. You want it to be the same so that we can track the sales across this SKU across your whole store. So even if you're bundling a bundled item, so if there was, you were selling a multicolor pack, brown, beige, and white, in a set of 3, that brown, beige, white set of 3 would have its bundled SKU. So you would want to give it a bundled SKU. And that's actually something that you can do in your attributes, is make an attribute called bundled, and is it bundled? It could be, if it's bundled, then BUN could be the start of that SKU to identify that it's bundled, so that that SKU is a bundled set of something. All right, that's all I have to say. Let's get back. So basically, as you can see, we would just come over here and start building out our SKUs. So if it was a bracelet, the tennis bracelet, it's a gold bracelet, maybe the size of this is the 7-inch bracelet, there's no gauge, and maybe we only personalize necklaces, so it's not important to put personalized on bracelets. Let's now do maybe we have ring. We don't have any product type for ring because we only have one type of ring. Maybe it's silver, and size. I didn't put the size in for rings, but I would probably, instead of inch, I would just do the size 6, 7, 8 with no inch to identify that it's a size, identifying it for a ring. You wouldn't say it's a 7-inch ring. You kind of get the point here. So you can see how your SKUs are filing in. Now, what we can do is we can correlate the SKU to the cost of goods sold. So your cost of goods sold is the total cost associated with creating, making, maybe shipping the raw materials to your office if you have to ship raw materials or the product to you first. We're including all of that cost in a final cost of goods sold, so a cost of a product. So if it's a $2 on average to ship the item to your office, $4 to make the product, and then another 50 cents to package it, we want to add all of those numbers up and put that here. So let's just make up some numbers here. Say it's $6.50, $4.50, and then $2, right? These are our costs to make these unique products. And you also have a notes section here if you want to write some notes for your own records. Now, what's cool about this is that this is automatically going to push your SKUs and to your SKU and COG export sheet. So what we can do from here is use our tool ProfitTree. So ProfitTree is the first ever real-time profit tracking solution for Etsy merchants. And basically this will track all of your expenses. So you're not just your cost of goods sold, but your shipping costs, your ad costs, your transaction fees, listing fees, processing fees, everything, and can give you back your operating profit. And every single metric has an explanation of what is being calculated. And all of this data, by the way, is getting pulled directly from your Etsy account ledger. So not one single transaction is getting missed. So in ProfitTree, you can see that this account actually has an error. It's saying that 744 products are missing COGS. You can see the COGS issues here is 744. So there's 744 SKUs that are missing their cost of goods sold. So in order to be able to use the bulk uploader, you have to have SKUs. After you've created your SKUs, you need to go into Etsy and input your SKUs on all of your listings. Now, unfortunately, as of now, there's no way to streamline that process. And I would do this sooner than later if you're just starting your shop for the first time, because the worst thing is getting hundreds of SKUs and variation options and having to backtrack and do all this. So if you're a newer shop, make sure you do this sooner than later, or just do it while you're building the listing. So if you're launching a new SKU or a new item, give it a SKU in your sheet and then add it to the listing. So in order for you to basically use the exporter feature, you need to have the SKUs already exist in Etsy. So you would come in here and you would hit File, and you're going to go to download, and you're going to download this as a CSV file. And then you can come into Profittree and you can click import COGS, and you can upload that CSV file. So you would find that CSV file. Now, those SKUs I just made up don't actually exist, so it wouldn't actually work, but let's pretend that we built these SKUs out and then gave them the cost of goods sold, exported it, and then uploaded it. We would see the COGS start filing in here. Now, even if you don't have a SKU system and maybe this whole SKU thing is overwhelming to you, that's okay. You can still add your product cost by hitting this little pencil here and fixing the costs on all of the products. So then when you have your product reports trailing, you can be getting accurate profits on the sales that you're getting. So like here, you can see here's my cost of goods sold was $218, and after fees and everything, our operating profit was $271 for the last 7 days. Other cool things with this is that when you come over here, what we do, like we mentioned, like the scrunchie example, if you have many products that exist in many listings, we consolidate all of that data. So this is saying that this SKU exists in 7 listings. So basically, when we add the cost of goods sold, if we want to add the cost of goods sold here, let's add a cost of goods sold. Let's say it's $9. Now, if I look up that SKU, we can actually see on all of those listings. Oh, it's only in the last 7 days, but let's go into the last year. So we looked up that SKU, and now because we have cost of goods sold, we can see a consolidated view of all of this SKU that existed. I think we said that this SKU existed, yep, it existed 3 times. And across the 3 listings, we didn't make that much money. We only made $88 in net sales and $27 in profit last year. So not super great, but you get the point of how it's now consolidating across 3 different listings that this particular item has basically generated us this much revenue. But overall, guys, this is how the SKU generator works. This is how it works in conjunction with cost of goods sold. Let me know. You can always email us at support@profittree.io if you have any issues or questions, and we can definitely help walk you through this. I want to thank you guys so much for staying until the end. We really hope that Profittree is going to help revolutionize the way that people scale their Etsy businesses with real, meaningful insights. So now that you're on the waitlist, you will get notified when we finally launch. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more free trainings, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.